Hello everyone, I'm Julia, and in this video we are going to talk about angels, spirit guides, and ancestors, who they are, how you can connect with them, and how they interact with you. Let's start with angels / spirit guides. Personally, I think they are the same thing. I think it's just two different terms to describe them. And I don't really think it matters which one you use. So use whichever you have the best connotation to, whichever one resonates with you most. But essentially, angels and spirit guides are energetic beings or spirits that interact with our plane in a different way. They don't experience time-space reality in the same way that we do. They most likely operate in a higher dimension than us, so they can interact with our dimension, but don't experience it in the same way we do. They're just energetically on a different wavelength. If you're familiar with angels in a biblical sense, they are messengers. So in general, angels and spirit guides, their purpose is to better the collective. And when we have like our own like guardian angel or spirit guide or multiple spirit guides, their purpose is to help us for the sake of us and for the sake of the collective good. So they are guiding us as a part of the collective. And you can have many different spirit guides or angels. They can change. One can stay with you and then leave and then come back. But pretty much at all times, they're watching over you and they're protecting you, especially because they don't experience time-space reality in the way that we do. They're not limited in that sense. They're not limited by time. They're not limited by physical reality. So they're able to watch over you and they're able to help you and interact with you in their own way. So we'll get into how spirit guides, angels, and ancestors help you in a moment, but let's cover ancestors for now. So who are ancestors? They are obviously biological ancestors, but I believe that we also have energetic ancestors as well. So ancestry that we are energetically connected to. For example, I have a lot of step family, so I believe I'm energetically connected to those ancestors as well. For example, if you're adopted or if someone's adopted, I believe that they have both biological ancestors and energetic ancestors too in the family that they're connected to, if that kind of makes sense. I also believe like dogs and stuff can be ancestors, but that's just fun to think about. So when we're talking about ancestors in the sense of guiding us and helping us, we are looking towards those ancestors that have our best interest in mind, have our family's best interest in mind, and those that will benefit us. So obviously, not everyone who has passed away in your lineage was a good person. So we're not looking to those people for guidance. And we want to make sure to specify that we are looking for like the highest good out of those individuals who are helping us. Which is just really important to note because, like I said, not all the people in the past were good people, and we don't want to call in that energy. And it's okay if you know, for example, that some people in your past, really weren't good. You can still look for ancestors who were good, and you don't have to have known them in your lifetime for them to be helpful to you. They will be energetically connected to you, and if it is their mission to help you, then they will be there for you. Also, we are able to pray for those ancestors who didn't get good karma in the past, who weren't necessarily good people. We can pray that they learn the lessons that they need to learn and grow their spirits as well. So even though we don't really want to work with that energy in the sense of having them help us, we can definitely pray for them and just wish them the best. Okay, so let's get to how we can connect with them. So first, before we do anything, it's really important to protect ourselves energetically. I do have a video on how to do that if you're interested. It's linked above, but there are many different ways that we can protect ourselves, and one of them is affirmations. So saying either out loud or in your mind who you want to interact with. I really do like the Gateway Experience affirmation, and I'll put that in the description below because that one was specifically designed to have only a positive connotation to every single word that's a part of the affirmation, because we don't want to have any like negative words like, you know, I want them to protect me from evil. Like, you want to leave the evil part out. You can, of course, create your own affirmations. I highly recommend it because it's super fun to do. And that also helps you better understand how our language affects the energy that we put out and the energy that we create within ourselves. My personal favorite way to connect with my spirit guides, angels, and ancestors is through prayer and meditation. I think they kind of go hand in hand. You know, some people have different views on prayer and meditation. Personally, I think meditation is a wide variety of different types of meditations. You can of course clear your mind, but when it comes to working with angels and spirit guides, it's often a conversation with them, telling them, you know, what you need help with, asking them for help, and then quieting your mind and listening for an answer. And sometimes they're not going to give you an answer right away. Sometimes it has to simmer, and you know, then an opportunity will come, or then you'll get your answer in some way, shape, or form. And you can go as deep as you want with prayer and meditation. You can ask them questions about the world, you know, and all that sort of thing. And I do want to say that the deeper in meditation that I've gone, I've had more profound experiences. So when I do just like a really basic meditation where I'm not getting my brain wavelength to a really deep like theta wavelength level, when I'm not that far yet, I don't have as much, or I haven't had as much experiences as I have had when I do get into a theta wavelength state. And I've had like the best experience of my life in a really deep meditation with my spirit guides. They presented themselves to me energetically. I didn't see them, but I really felt them there. And I will link that video up above for you. It just kind of talks about like my spiritual experiences and stuff, in case you want to know more about that. But again, it was such an amazing and cool experience to really connect with them on that level. Like, it was the first time that I really knew they were there. I really knew that they were there. I felt them. It was just so loving. Journaling is another really cool way to connect with your spirit guides. You can do it similar to prayer and meditation, where you have a conversation with them, where you ask them questions, where you list out what you want help with, where you just kind of do a brain dump and have them help you fill it out. You know, if you're like wondering what your purpose is or something like that, you can do that in meditation, or you can do that in journaling, or you could do both. I had a really cool experience where I don't know if I channeled, but I'm pretty sure what I was doing was channeling their energy, because I wasn't necessarily thinking about what I was writing. I was just writing, and it was from an oracle card. They told me, or like the oracle card like prompt was to channel one of your guides and have them, you know, write out a message for you. And it was just a really cool message to read. It really was helpful for me at the time. I really needed to hear it. So channeling is another cool option. It's definitely a little bit difficult if you don't have a prompt. So I would recommend looking up a prompt before you do it, just because that made it at least easier for me. These next two ways to connect with your spirit guides, angels, or ancestors are really easy to do, and they kind of go hand in hand. So one is thinking about them more often, and two is recognizing your appreciation and thankfulness for them. So I like to do this when I'm in the car. That's a really good time for me to think about them, tell them how thankful I am, just kind of have like, it's more one-sided conversation when I'm not meditating, but just let them know I'm thinking about them. Those are just some fun ways that you can connect with them on a more daily basis and a more practical basis. For these, you don't have to be sitting down for 10 minutes to meditate or write, or 30 minutes to meditate, So it's super, super easy to do, to just show your appreciation and thankfulness. The more that you think about them, the more that you connect with them and appreciate them, the more they are going to be able to interact with you and help you, because they're not really, they want your consent, essentially. They're not just going to do something without your consent unless it's like really dire. Honestly, I don't really know. That's just my own personal experience. I've noticed that the times where they've helped me were the times when I asked for help. So that's just kind of my own personal experience with it. I really do think that they, we have free will, and I think they respect the fact that we have free will. So they want to give us that kind of leeway. But if you ask for it and if you are in communication with them, they will 100% be there for you. They'll be there for you either way. It's just a deeper level of interaction when you're more connected on your side. There is another way that you can interact with them as well, and that is offerings. I know a lot of people do this. It works really well for a lot of people, especially with ancestors. If you know someone in your past who, really liked coffee or something, you can leave them a cup of coffee, something like that. I personally don't do offerings just because that hasn't really been something that I've done. I am interested in trying it, however, and I do know that a ton of people do offerings, and it works really well for them. So if you're open to that, that is another option for you as well. Now we know how to connect with our angels, ancestors, and spirit guides, but how do we know that they actually interact with us? And this first one is definitely a little bit confusing to decipher because they are subtle signs. Subtle signs can be anything. Anything that you would receive as a sign could be a sign from your guides or ancestors. For example, it could be angel numbers. It could be, a bird. It could be something being placed in a specific way. It could be someone saying something to you that you weren't expecting, or that was just like really out of character. For example, I was driving home really late one night, and I just really wanted to be safe, and there's a lot of deer around here, and I personally love deer. They were like my favorite animal when I was a kid. And when I pulled up to my house, in the exact spot that I park, there was a deer just standing right where I park, like on the, not in the road, but right next to where I park. And it was just staring at me. Obviously, that's what deer do, but it wasn't scared. It didn't behave like normal deer. I don't know. It could have just been a normal deer, but the way it looked at me and the way it walked away, I just took that as a sign from my guides that they were watching over me at night. And it's just little stuff like that. It could also be missing items. If you keep noticing like a certain pattern coming in your life, that could be your guides telling you you need to learn a certain lesson, or you need to do something, or something along those lines. There's a reason why I call it subtle signs, because they're very subtle and you do have to kind of decipher them. And even if you don't attribute it to guides, angels, or ancestors, a lot of the times you can find meaning in something, and something can add to your life either way. The next one is big download. So this is when it's pretty obvious that they are telling you something, that you get a sudden inspiration, a sudden epiphany or realization, or they show you a vision, or they talk to you. I know someone personally who is very committed to their Catholic faith, and they know the name of their guardian angel because their guardian angel presented themselves to them and told them their name, which was really cool because they're super devoted to their Catholic faith, and I admire that. I think everyone who has a spiritual or religious path, I just think it's really cool when people are devoted and really get a lot out of it, especially because I know I love my own spirituality and I get so much out of it, so I really appreciate when others get stuff out of it too. With these big downloads, they often come in the sense of clear knowing or claircognizance or precognition. They are just sudden epiphanies and realizations that lead to breakthroughs, lead to massive growth in your life, lead to major positive change. And for example, a lot of inventors and innovators like Nikola Tesla received their ideas from what they call divine inspiration, which is probably their angels or guides telling them, you know, some sort of information or giving them the final push to realize their process or realize their invention. Another really cool way our ancestors, angels, and spirit guides interact with us is through opportunities. So this is like a right place, right time sort of situation. Something where you were either looking for it currently, or you might not have even known that you wanted that thing, but then, you know, a year or 2 years later, you look back and you're like, wow, that was divine intervention. That put me on the perfect path to my life. It's that sort of thing that I personally attribute to both manifestation and spirit guides. Of course, I believe in manifestation. However, I also believe that we do have angels and guides and ancestors looking out for us and helping us along our path. So it's kind of like we set our goals towards manifestation out of our own free will, and our guides and ancestors help us along that path. They can also come as random people that we meet out of nowhere. You know, sometimes you just interact with a random person and you just think about how like incredible that experience was. Or, you know, I've had other people in my life saying, I think I met an angel today, as a person. So that's definitely one way that they can present themselves. They can also present themselves as intense waves of energy, intense emotional energy. For example, one of my experiences with my guides, I knew that they were there just by feeling alone. It felt so powerful, loving, and caring. It was such an incredible experience. But they can also present themselves in physical ways as well, like a person or like an orb. I hear a lot of people talking about orbs. Orbs can be not only angels, spirit guides, but they can also be ancestors, so people and spirits. Orbs can be kind of anything energetically, not just angels, light beings, or spirit guides. So I do want to make that distinction, but often they present themselves in out there ways where you can rationalize it and you can think through it and come up with a different answer, but sometimes there just is no other answer other than, you know, they present themselves to me, or they're communicating with me or helping me in some way, shape, or form. And another way that they can do that is through miracles. They can help with miracles. They can grant miracles and stuff, which is really powerful. To know that they're here for us and they are you know, not only guiding us along our journey, but they're guiding us as a part of the collective. So they're here for all of us, which is it's just beautiful. And that concludes this video on angels, ancestors, and spirit guides. If you have any more questions, please let me know down below. I will be happy to answer them. Or if you just want to create a discussion, I'll be happy to participate. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye!